I'm Adam Gaines, General Manager here at Crete Truck Center, Madison. This is one of our 10 locations throughout Wisconsin for Crete. On behalf of the more than 500 associates here at Crete, thank you all for coming today and taking time to join us with this and acknowledging this significant milestone, the delivery of the two Mack LR electric Class 8 refuse trucks you see behind me. We're grateful for Madam Mayor and our guest this morning. In a few minutes, they're going to get up here and talk with you as well. Special thanks to Mack Truck as well, including George, I'm going to kill your last name, Fotopoulos. I did well. He is the Vice President of E-Mobility, and just met him last night and had a nice conversation. Before I turn it over to our President and CEO, David Crete, I thought I'd give you a little bit more about our location here at Madison. This is the third dealership that was acquired back in 1998. We currently have about 95, 96 employees out of this location. We do everything here from selling the trucks, servicing, and meeting our customer demand for parts. We're proud to be the battery electric certified by Mack in September of 23, and making us the first Mack dealer to become certified in the state of Wisconsin. As part of this process, you can see over my shoulder here, we've got a partnership with ChargePoint, and they're really a leader in the EV charging solutions. They made it pretty easy for us when it came time to decide who to use. Currently, we have a dedicated service bay. I think whoever went on a tour had seen that. And we have 4 certified EV technicians out of this facility, including working on so they can work on these LRE Macks. With that, I'd like to turn it over to our President and CEO, David Crete, for some brief remarks. David?
All right, thank you. I'll stay on the thank you train very quickly. Again, thanks to Adam Gaines and really to the entire Crete Truck Center Madison team. Appreciate that tour. I was telling the mayor, we put a significant investment into this footprint, into Madison, over the last really 6, 7, 8 years. And it's shining well today, right, including the investment in infrastructure for electrification. So huge thanks to everybody and the Madison team, specifically as it relates to what we're celebrating today. Big thanks to Jeff Brimmer, Garrett Schaefer, David Barletta, the entire Mack team, including Travis, Tyler, George Fotopoulos, the Greek freak, and the sales engineering team at Mack. This is unique because it's at the forefront of a lot of really good things to come. So a lot of minds came together to engineer this the right way. Lastly, thanks to our marketing team, John, Emily, Sarah, and Matt and company for putting this all together. A little luck on the weather, but everything else is through hard work. So thank you. And lastly, again, I'll echo the thanks to Mayor Satya Rhodes. Really appreciate meeting you and for you coming to our facility. This means a lot. In addition to the mayor, thanks so much to everybody with the city, the operators of the trucks, those in procurement, the folks that are now retired, perhaps, that worked with our group, hand in glove, made a really big difference. And it has to be celebrated that this is the first fully electric Class 8 refuse truck in the state of Wisconsin. It's really, really cool. So round of applause there. So very briefly, a little bit more expanding on Crete. We're 73 years in business this year. It was started in 1951 by my grandfather, Henry Crete, who worked for Mack Trucks in the 1930s and 40s and moved from upstate New York to Milwaukee and took a risk. And at that point, we were 20 employees, one brand, servicing pretty much just the city of Milwaukee. And today, we're 10 full-line dealerships. We have 5 full-line truck brands, and I don't know, a handful of other equipment and body partnerships. In addition, over 1,300 trucks in our own fully owned lease and rental company that services a lot of customers here in the state of Wisconsin. So we've grown to be an operation that's in excess of $400 million in revenue and almost 600 employees, as Adam mentioned. So for everybody that's made this happen over the years, we're quite proud of that. But I think what shines brightest and makes us unique, or what we really believe is our differentiator, is our culture and our team. Right, so we're particularly proud of everybody that's in the tent, everybody that's still working inside and in the body shop behind us. Our commitment to customer service and, as we describe it, as customer excellence, really can't be diminished. We're very intentional about that. We're not driven solely by our P&L and quarterly reports. We're driven by doing the right thing. And I hope that we never lose our way in that regard, because it's what makes this operation pretty special. That said, we're extremely dedicated to the community and our philanthropic endeavors. Personally, as well as our team, we give a lot to Special Olympics of Wisconsin and the Vince Lombardi Cancer Foundation, just to name two. But there's a plethora of other notable charities that we like to play around with and help out. And I'd be remiss as well if I didn't mention how deep-rooted we are with our business partners in Mack Trucks and some of our other suppliers. It means a lot. So fundamentally, at the end of the day, we try to make decisions all about people, right? And there are four groups of people: our associates or employees, in no particular order, by the way, our customers, our suppliers, or we call them business partners, and then our community. And I think what we're celebrating today is emphatically checking the box in all of those categories, right? This provided us the opportunity to train our associates in a new trade and a new craft, which is really, really exciting. Our customer, in this case the city, had a need and a demand, and we were able to fulfill that through our business partner. For Mack Trucks, obviously this is a milestone moment to have brand new product, which took a ton of investment in R&D dollars throughout the years. It's beautiful to see it put to life. And then obviously we're checking a box in a big way as it relates to the community, right? There's a lot to be said about making the commitment to sustainability that the mayor and the team at the city has made that commitment to. And obviously it's great to hold hands in that journey. So with that, I'd like to bring up the expert, the Vice President of E-Mobility at Mack Trucks, George Fotopoulos, and thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. Yes, George Fotopoulos, which was pronounced perfectly by both you guys, so thank you for that very much. Vice President here of Electromobility. First time here, obviously, in Madison. First time actually in Wisconsin. So what brings me here today? Thank you very much for having me. It's an important day. It's an amazing day. I stand proudly, obviously, before you, delivering two vehicles here to the City of Madison that you see behind me, two Mack LR electric refuse trucks. And okay, what's the big deal about delivering a couple refuse trucks? Well, obviously they're electric, so that makes it a big deal. But as mentioned by David, they're the first heavy-duty refuse electric vehicles for the state of Wisconsin. So that's a pretty big deal. It's a significant step forward in obviously sustainable transport solutions and for the state of Wisconsin and the city of Madison. So the introduction of these electric vehicles is not just about replacing old trucks with new trucks. It's embarking in a new era of waste management. And waste equals, anytime there is waste, there's opportunities for technology and enhancements in technology and in the way to make more efficiencies happen. So this is obviously an era that has a lot of waste, no pun intended, because we're talking about electric vehicles that run more efficiently and effectively. So these vehicles offer real-world here benefits. They're more efficient, they're quieter, they're safer, they have lower emissions, which means they're also healthier for the communities that they serve. So for generations to come at that as well. So the future of transportation and waste is actually here today with these two vehicles behind us. So to the City of Madison, thank you. Thank you very much for your vision. Thank you very much for your leadership. And thank you very much for obviously selecting Mack Trucks to be your partner here and trusting us in your electric vehicle journeys. To Crete Truck Centers, the great partnership and the history, they're family. At the end of the day, thank you. Thank you for your commitment and sustainability, and thank you for the investments you made at this facility, amongst other facilities, to become EV certified and service our EV customers throughout the state of Wisconsin. With that said, Mack Trucks, we are committed to decarbonizing transportation. We are establishing ourselves as a leader of e-mobility, and we're doing it with help with progressive cities like Madison, and obviously progressive company like the Crete Truck Center. So this year, we launched our second vehicle. So behind me, you have our LR Electric, which is our first vehicle, which was launched in 2021. And this was based off of its siblings being the LR diesel platform and the LR natural gas platform. The second vehicle is a medium-duty electric truck, which comes in a Class 6 and 7 configuration. And a little bit of a side note, the first retail medium-duty electric truck was also retailed here out of Crete, which is a fantastic also accolade as well. So we will continue to launch more electric truck models, eventually, of course, to make more efficient trucks, but also to transition our fleet to a fully zero-emission truck fleet. So thank you. I'll go with the thank you trains as well. Thank you to everybody for coming here today. It's obviously a very much a pioneering initiative that we're here to celebrate, and it's also a source of inspiration. So for these two reasons alone, it deserves our applause. Thank you very much. And with that, I have the honor to introduce to you the Mayor, Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway. Thank you, Mayor.
Good morning, everyone. I am so happy to be here celebrating the fact that the City of Madison is putting into service 2 zero-emission, all-electric trash collecting trucks. There's a lot of people to thank. Many of them have been thanked already. But I'm just delighted to have the opportunity to be here to celebrate this. As you've heard, Madison is the first community in Wisconsin to add fully electric garbage trucks to our municipal fleet. I will say mayors have a little bit of a competition thing that we do between us. And when I heard that the Boise mayor had electric trash trucks, I may have called our folks up and said, excuse me, how did Boise beat us? That's not okay. So I'm really proud to be the first in Wisconsin, if not the first in the nation. And I want to say a big thank you to the folks in our fleet division, and particularly our fleet superintendent, Mahant Joishi, who really has pushed to make sure that we electrify. And to Mahant's team, Rachel's here today, carrying forward that work. We're really all in on electrifying transportation and finding ways to reduce our climate pollution footprint in the City of Madison. I also want to thank our streets folks, because that's who's driving these babies, right? And so I want to thank Charlie Romines, who's our street superintendent, is also here with us, and all the folks from streets who are taking on something new. It's still a trash truck, but it is a little different, drives a little different, and I'm really happy that Streets has been willing to help us innovate. Because that's what it's all about, is finding a way forward with innovation and through some really impressive partnerships. So I want to say a big thanks to Crete and the entire Crete team. Thank you for investing in Madison. Thanks for making the decisions to employ so many people here and contribute to our community. And thanks for willing to take a chance on new technologies. Because it's definitely the wave of the future, and we need our partnerships with the private sector to make it happen. Of course, I also want to say thank you to the entire Mack Trucks team. We couldn't obviously be here without the work that you've done. It was mentioned before, but I think it's worth mentioning again. This doesn't happen by itself, right? The companies that are producing electric vehicles, whether it's light duty or heavy duty, have had to make significant investments in R&D and in figuring out what works for their platforms and the kind of vehicles that they produce. That doesn't happen without leadership. And so I'm really appreciative of the leadership at Mack for understanding that we need to have heavy duty electric options. and for making that possible today. Both of these trucks are going to be out of the Streets Division's East Side location. They will be running them through their paces, and I'm sure they're going to have feedback for you. Our folks are really good at that. Just a side note, we had the opportunity to work with Pierce Manufacturing, a great Wisconsin company, to pilot and prototype the first all-electric fire truck in North America. It's called the Volterra. And we worked with them for years to give them feedback on their product. And they've worked with us and a handful of other communities. That they're now in their, fourth or fifth generation of it. And they promised us the first one off the line, which I hope is coming soon. So we have a history in the city of Madison of innovating and working with private sector partners to make sure that we can get the technology that we need. In addition to these heavy-duty vehicles, we have more than 100 fully electric light-duty vehicles. I drove one of them here today. And we have about 150 hybrids. And we have 62 new fully electric buses, which are going into service on the 22nd in our new bus rapid transit. I'm very excited about that. I'm very thankful to the Biden-Harris administration for making it possible for us to purchase those electric buses. I hope nobody under this tent is asking this question, but some folks ask, well, why? Why are you making these investments in electrification? Why do you need to shift over your whole fleet? I mean, the first answer is we have to shift our fleet anyway. These vehicles have a life cycle. We buy new vehicles all the time, and we are constantly interested in buying the best vehicles for our community. And one of the reasons that we're going all in on electrification is because it's better for the environment. And mostly because it's better for air quality. And when you think about particularly these vehicles behind me, our trash and recycling trucks hit every single block in the city of Madison, right? They drive down every street in every neighborhood picking up trash and recycling. That is a lot of diesel fumes in our neighborhoods. And diesel fumes, not great for us, right? They contribute to childhood asthma. They can contribute to higher rates of heart disease. And so if we can take even one diesel truck off of the streets and put an electric truck in its place that is not creating those emissions, that's a win for the health of our community, right? It's a win for air quality in our community. It's a win for reducing our climate pollution footprint in our community. But government never does things for just one reason. It's also a win for our budget. Because what we've found with our electric vehicle fleets is that we actually have long-term savings. It's reduced maintenance for our fleets, and that saves us in terms of parts. It saves us in terms of labor. But it's also reduced fuel costs. And this is one of the ways in which the City of Madison is investing on the capital side to save us money on the operating side. Because you may have heard, we have a little bit of a pinch in our operating budget. So anything that we can do to save us operating dollars is a win for us. So I'm really excited about the benefits to the City of Madison and to our entire community. I'm also excited to let you know that we're continuing a little bit of a tradition here in the City of Madison. And our Streets Division is launching a new contest to name these two electric refuse trucks with the help of Wisconsin Clean Cities. So if you have the perfect punny name for our new electric trucks, we encourage folks to email to submit your entry at cityofmadison.com before October 1st. I'm very bad at puns, so I'm not going to give you any examples. But I will tell you that once we get our submissions, residents will be able to vote for their favorite. It's a ranked choice election. So all of the details are going to be up on the city's website. When we did this for our snow plows, the winning names were Dolly Plowton, Saltimus Prime, Snowy One Kenobi, that's my favorite, and Seymour Pavement. So I think we can probably come up with names that are just as punny as those for these two fantastic vehicles behind me. And I invite all of you and the entire community to please submit your potential names. I want to end by saying thank you again. It's really a pleasure to be here. We got a great tour of the facility. I'm always interested in learning more about businesses in our community. And I want to say thanks again, both to Mac and to Crete, for helping us make this investment in Madison's future. And I'll hand it back to David. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. That was terrific. I think we're going to open it up right now with the folks still on stage for Q&A.
When will these trucks be on the road collecting trash?
The question is, when will these trucks be on the road collecting trash? And I could answer it, or you could. They already are. They started midsummer, July timeframe.
What's the lifespan of one of these trucks? How long does the city expect them to use?
The question is, what is the expected lifespan or use life cycle of these trucks? George, maybe you'd probably be best to answer.
I'll take it. So just like the diesel vehicles, they have the intent to have the same lifespan, which typically on the refuse trucks, we're talking about 10 to 15 years is a normal first use. There are some trucks out there, obviously, that are older than that, and they keep them much longer. They're durable vehicles and built, obviously, the Mac way with quality and pride.
How does the range of these vehicles change between summer and winter?
The range of these, I'm going to repeat the question for the ones that, yeah. So the range of the vehicles between summer and winter is the question. How do they differ? Yes, it does differ. What happens in the wintertime, you do have heat that's needed in the cab, so the auxiliaries take a bit of power from the batteries as well. So we're talking about up to maybe a 20% delta in the worst cases, but somewhere in between 0 and 20%. Yes?
What has the response from citizens of Madison been? Have people noticed? Has there been any feedback?
I don't honestly know. Charlie? I haven't heard any response myself from folks out on the street, but there's only two of them. There's a lot of trash routes. Have we heard any feedback from the community on these trucks?
You mean when we chase it down to ask what's going on?
Charlie says, you mean when they chase it down to ask what's going on because they didn't hear the truck go by? Yeah, I think positive response. I mean, that's the other thing that we didn't talk about is that these are a lot quieter than your average diesel. And we hear that with the buses as well. It's both a positive impact for your air quality, but also just a little bit quieter experience for our neighborhoods.
How much do these cost and are there any grants involved?
So this is somebody else has to answer the how much it costs question, but we regularly seek grants, but for these trucks, no, these were just a capital expenditure to replace, trucks that were moving out of our fleet. So we're on a regular cycle of replacement, and so we have a capital line in our sustainability budget that supports electrifying and experimenting with new electric vehicles, and that's how the delta on the cost is funded. So the question is, what are our plans in terms of transitioning the rest of the fleet to electric vehicles? I'm going to answer the more expansive questions. So on our light duties, we are well underway in that transition and intend to continue to transition because we have a lot of experience now with the light duty EVs. With the heavy duty EVs, this is something that we're still relatively new at. And so we're looking to learn from these vehicles about how they work and how well they do on our streets and for the purposes that we need. We have a lot of different types of heavy-duty vehicles, not just trash trucks. So we're always looking for solutions on the heavy-duty side. And so TBD on a time frame for full transition, but it's something that we're actively working on. What's our total fleet for garbage trucks?
Well, we'll have about 30 trash and recycling trucks out any day, and we have about 10 to 12 backups.
So we have about 30 trash and recycling trucks out on any given day, and then we have about 10 to 12 backup vehicles. And then you might see them come back around in the wintertime. We put plows on some of them. Any other questions? That's up to him. No, not in the wintertime. No.
Are there any challenges posed by electric vehicles instead of traditional?
So I'm happy to give my perspective, but you all might have another perspective. I mean, I think that the question we had about the delta between the summer and winter performance is something that we keep our eyes on. But other than that, I think generally we've had a very positive experience and haven't had a whole lot of challenges. But I don't know if anybody else wants to respond.
I'll take that question. Two categorizations of the challenges is one is operational for a one-to-one parity in regards to the performance, the range on a single tank of diesel versus a single charge in the batteries itself. So the one-to-one parity is not quite there with the vehicles at this point in time. And the other one is what we talked about is the economic parity. So the initial heavy capital outlay in the beginning, but obviously there's savings on the operational side. But and one more that is not really particular to these vehicles because they have a constant place to charge every night. They go home to a depot, but obviously public charging specifically on other applications for regional trucks or long-haul trucks is also a challenge within the industry. Yep.
What is the emissions impact of one of these
So the question is what the emissions impact of a typical diesel garbage truck is, and I'm sorry, I don't have those numbers at my fingertips, but it's something that we could work with our sustainability folks to try and answer for you. So I can tell you what I have heard from the firefighters and from some folks at Metro. I haven't heard yet from streets a whole lot of feedback, but I think it's been generally positive. One of the things that the drivers do talk about is that they're quieter vehicles, and so that's a better driving experience. I mean, other than that, they're trucks, right? So it's very much like driving a truck or driving a bus. But I do think that both the emissions and then the noise is something that is really noticeable from a driving perspective. Any other questions? If not, I'm going to close it out.
All right. Thank you, Madam Mayor. George? Good enough, and David. And thank everybody for coming. We're going to do a short demonstration. We've got some garbage cans out here set up, and we're going to show you what this thing does. Thanks, everybody.
Just also some background of what you're going to see is somewhere around the late 80s, refuse collection, especially residential, changed from what used to be a three-man system, one guy driving and two guys on the back running to the curbs picking them up, went to a dual steer low entry vehicle, which these are, and then this one particular is coupled up with what they call an ASL, or automated side loader. So what you'll see is instead of having 3 people on a truck and 2 people out collecting trash, you're going to see these cans which will replicate 3 homes where one person can do it and never get out of the vehicle. So we'll see that as soon as he gets his air pressure established. So again, I appreciate everybody's patience again as he aired this vehicle up. So you can hear.
It's also dual steer,
Yes.
so you have to select the proper side
Yes.
of the operator.
Yes. So part of that configuration, as you can see, it is dual steer. Typically, if you're going to be out on the highways or going to a landfill, you're going to operate it from the left-hand side, or we call it the driver's side. When you get to a residential area, what you're going to see is they will move over to what we call the work side. This truck is configured in many different ways. It could be right hand, sit down, right hand, stand up. This is particularly a left hand sit down and a right hand sit down. So that yellow arm is what you're going to see is the automated arm itself. You can clearly hear how quiet this vehicle is. very long, so if you're in places where you have to get in between parked cars, it has reach. You'll grab the container. Once it gets that container in, the automation will bring it up and it will tip into the hopper. There it will dump. What also is happening with an automated side loader is, if you see on the back side, right where it's putting that line, there's a blade in there, and that blade, every time he tips a can, will push back to compact it. So where it says it's electric, that is where the trash is being stored. And every time he cycles that arm and it dips, there's an automation to the blade that will compact and keep pushing that trash through. You can easily pick up 600 to 700 homes or cans that will fit inside that rear loader or rear compartment. Again, the only thing you're hearing are the hydraulics that are also being driven by the electric part of that vehicle. There you have it. Thank you.